don't poke the bear. In your scans, if you see something doesn't get delivered, do not, I recommend, I'm not telling you what to do, but I recommend do not go out and ask people if they got their item. Welcome back to SM Postcards. If you're new to postcards, you've been doing postcards for a long time, this is the place to be. I have over 200 videos talking about different postcards, how I do things, and how I resell them. This is a reselling channel. There's collectors in here, a lot of people with a lot of knowledge. So if you have questions about postcards, leave it in the comments and either I'll respond or someone else. Or you can send me an email to contact@SMPostcards.com and I'll reply. Today, I got the normal, what's sold. Got a bunch of cards sold on eBay overnight. A lot of boats and ships and different things. And then the special topic postcard today is Yellowstone Postcards. There's some different things I'm going to go over. There's Haynes postcards, and then there's Whylie Camp. That's another one. And you don't want to miss that because those are some cards, the Whylie Camps especially, you want to look for. So I'll dive into that, give you some history on them, and we'll go over that after what's sold. And then I have a poll. A lot of people ask me, how do I store my postcards, with a sleeve, without a sleeve? So I put it out there again as a poll to see if they have naked postcards or postcards with sleeves. And we'll see what the responses are. And then I got like 4 viewer comments to go over at the end. You always want to stick around for that, where I give my opinion and answer the questions that came in from viewers. But let's go ahead and get started on the what's sold. Got 16 cards sold overnight. First one is just a ship card. This is the West Virginia, USS West Virginia publisher card. It's a Chrome card. Basically they bought it from a publisher that printed these cards, and I got about another 50 of those cards left. Next one I just listed yesterday. It's Greetings from Lake Walk, Texas. Lake Walk. It's a banner card. It was posted in the 1960s. Chrome card. Lake Walk. There's the lake. Then this card here sold for $5.75. Those other cards sold between $4 and $5. This is the East Beach Plantation, Ocho Rios, Jamaica. I had a bunch of Jamaica cards. I bought a lot of them from Mary Martin auction, and with Mary Martin I had to pay shipping and stuff, so I always bump it up $1. So this sold for $5.75, and this is the East Beach, another Jamaica card, just standard size card, unposted. I've made my money back a couple times over with those Jamaica cards. Next one is USS Ogden. This is one of those prints. It's a colored print. It's on lighter cardstock, unposted. And I'm sold out of these right now, the USS Ogden. So I sold all of the ones I had of this one, $4 to $5. Next person came in, and with the Navy ships, they have a post office or postal clerk. This little thing right here, that's the petty officer. There's 1, 2, and 3 petty office badges I have. They stamp it with the boat stamp. They all have a stamp on there, and this gentleman bought 5 covers. People, whenever you send a letter on the ship, they get a stamp. So a lot of people send a self-addressed stamped envelope and they want the stamp, and that's what it looks like. This is the Rupertus, and each one has a different date. So he picked up all 5 of these. A lot of times these sell on eBay for $1, and $1 shipping is what you'll see. A lot of these they call them ship cancels. First day covers or covers, ship date cancels. Some have a cachet on them, a big thing, but most of them sell for $1. I sell these for $4.65, $4.75 a piece because I have a good naval following with all the ships I have, and you're not going to get some of these anymore. They're not going to be there. And a lot of people that bought these have told me they were the ones that were on the ship during the time that these were stamped. So all 5 of these sold for $23.25, which isn't a bad deal. I don't know, got about 600 or something left over there. And they steadily sell. They're not big sellers, big dollar things, but they just, every month I sell a few of them and stuff like that. Next card, I made a mistake on this card, and I didn't notice until it sold. And I'll tell you what that is. This is Montgomery Ward and Company, in Baltimore, Maryland. Montgomery Ward was like J.C. Penney back in the day. I remember Montgomery Ward, and I did some work for the Montgomery Ward company down in Chicago. It was right across from Oprah, by the Oprah studios over on the north side, and we had to go in once every so often and just do something on their system because they didn't want to pay for a full contract. They were not doing well, so they would have us come in and do a few things, and that's it, and basically pay us per hour instead of having a maintenance contract. But we did that, and this is Montgomery Ward Company, Baltimore, Maryland, a linen card, sold for $12.65. And what I did is this: instead of Montgomery Ward, I put Montgomery Wars, and it still sold. So it came up. That was my typo that I didn't catch. So Montgomery Ward cards, $12.65 for a linen card. Not too shabby for that one. Then I sold another one of those ship cancels. Now this one's got the cachet on it. It's got the big stamp here. They call these cachets. And it's got a little cancel up here, but this is what they're looking for right there. And this sold for $4.65. As you know, I like to do little trade cards, these little retro trade cards. I break them up from the lots and I sell them separately, just like postcards. They don't sell real fast. They're slower sell-through rates, but I just like dealing with them. They're easy to do, and I like looking at them. This is, have no fear, the Fonz is here from Happy Days. This is just one of the cards on their net, sold for $4.65. I think, I don't even know what I paid for this, probably hardly anything, but I got a bunch of Happy Days with a lot of cards. You can find them pretty cheap in the thrift stores and stuff. Next one is Oscar Swan Country Inn in Geneva, Illinois, which is northwest of me. Some lady sitting at a table, special events place, chrome card, $4.65. Next one is just a view card of my Bible Conference, Red Rock, Pennsylvania, posted 1957, chrome card, view card, $4.65 posted. A lot of people wouldn't list that card. I did. And then we had another, it was a lot of Navy ships and stuff today. Gentleman bought two of these. This is the USS Tantanal, and it was a guided missile destroyer. So he bought two of these here. Now he didn't get the 15% discount, he bought them separately. Sometimes people do that and eBay won't give them that discount. But these sold for $9.50, both together. So I had a total of 16 cards sold overnight for a total of dollars of $96.47. Now if you take $96.47 and divide it by 16, my average sale price was $6.03. So my goal was 14 cards a day this year. I beat that by 2 today. $70 a day. I got $96.47, so I beat that. And my ASP is $6.03, so it's still going up for the year. So I met my goals for overnight for today. And that puts a little extra in there with the 96 for the days that I do 60 or something. I'm over $70 a day for sure. And my ASP is up, and I'm right at 13, 14 cards average per day for the year, which is very doable for me. A lot of people say that isn't much. For me, that's my minimum that I need to pay the bills, be comfortable. If I do more, that's fine. If I do less, I'll make some changes. But right now, I'm making it through, and I'm basically part-time, a little bit over part-time, but I'm retired, and this is supplemental income. It's not my main income. If I was full-time, I would definitely ramp this up. But $70 a day, 14 cards a day, raise ASP is all I'm looking for going forward. I'm not trying to break any records or trying to hit that magical top number everybody hit. You got to have a budget. So going into 2024, you want to think where you want to be. What is the basic minimum you need to make every day average? And what is the top number you want to reach? A little stretch goal, but not too far to make it comfortable. So eBay sales are up and down. They say economy, they say all this stuff. Don't ride that wave. Just set your goals to what it is. If you can only do this and you need to go out and supplement with a part-time job for the next couple of years to make things consistent, do that. Get away from it for a little bit. Reselling, a lot of people start reselling, they do it day and night, and they can never get away from it. You quit your job to go full-time, not to work for someone, and work all those hours and have more time, and these people are spending hours and hours and hours, and this is all they think about. It's a job. It's a business. Now, if you're a hobby seller, different story. You don't have a lot of overhead. You just do this for a hobby. You make a few bucks every month. That's fine too. But a lot of the full-timers can't understand why it's so inconsistent. If you want consistent money every month, then you need to go work for an employer where you'll work 40 hours and get a certain amount of pay. Being self-employed, no matter what business you're in, it will be up and down. You just got to budget for that and put away money at the good times and to pay for the bad times. But a lot of times postcards and stuff like that will keep those valleys, those dips from being so low. Throw some cheaper cards in there to keep that cash flow going in, is what I always tell people. But that's what sold. Not a bad overnight. I was happy with that. Now we're going to get into the special topic. This one took a while for me to dig into, because Yellowstone, Yosemite, Garden of the Gods, all these national park things, a lot of stuff comes up when you start digging in here. And I'm just going to give you the highlight, the overview. There's so much you can read on this. If I tried to do everything, we would be here for days and stuff. But I'm going to try to tap your curiosity to not overlook these cards. There's some you need to overlook. They just don't sell as well as some of them. You still need to have some variety and stuff in there, but some of them I stay away from. And they're not my priority. But this opened my eyes to Yellowstone a little bit more. So let's go ahead and get started. Now Yellowstone, here's the map to Yellowstone. I always know that what state do you put Yellowstone in? A lot of times I don't put the state, I just put Yellowstone. Everybody knows Yellowstone. But the park covers 3,472 square miles, even though the official address is the state of Wyoming. Yellowstone is actually in 3 states. The majority of Yellowstone is 96% is in Wyoming. A small section, 3%, to the north and northwest is Montana. And a small section of the park, 1%, is Idaho. So you got Wyoming, Idaho, and Montana. So I kind of usually put Wyoming when I have Yellowstone, if I want to put that in the title. Unless it's something special in one of the other states, but it's the official address. And everybody, you're going to get the west in there. But that's the map of where Yellowstone is, right on the corner of Wyoming, up there in Idaho, Montana. But I'm going to go ahead and give you some paragraphs, some things I found about Yellowstone. Then we're going to get into the Haynes Company and then the Whylie Camp Company and talk about some of those, and we'll get into the pricing and the sell-through rates of what I found. And while I talk about some of the Yellowstone facts and history, I'm going to show you some postcards I found of Yellowstone. Here we go. Yellowstone Park has a fascinating history that goes back a long, long time. Native American tribes lived in the Yellowstone area for thousands of years before the Europeans arrived. They considered the land sacred and believed in its spiritual power. In the early 1800s, explorers and fur trappers started to venture into the region. They were amazed by the incredible natural wonders they discovered, like geysers and the massive Yellowstone Lake. People began to realize that this land was something special and needed to be protected. In 1872, Yellowstone became the first national park in the United States. It wasn't second or third, it was the first national park in the United States. This means that the government decided to set aside land for everyone to enjoy and to make sure it would be protected for future generations. And this was done in 1872. We're the future generations nowadays. It was a groundbreaking decision. The park was named Yellowstone after the Yellowstone River, which flows through it. So Yellowstone was named after the Yellowstone River, and it flows through Yellowstone. Since then, millions of people from all around the world have visited the park to experience its beauty and learn about its unique features. Yellowstone Park is not just a beautiful place, it's a piece of history that reminds us of the importance of preserving our national treasures. Now with the Yellowstone Postcards, they're a popular way to capture and share the beauty of this place. These postcards offer photographs of park iconic landmarks, such as the majestic old geyser or the vibrant colors of the Grand Springs. The images on the postcards showcase the natural wonders of Yellowstone, allowing people to take a piece of the park home with them. Postcards also serve as a way to share the experience of visiting Yellowstone with friends and family who may not have a chance to see it in person. They can be sent through the mail, and when they arrive, they bring a sense of awe and wonder, reminding us of the incredible sights and memories we made while exploring the Yellowstone Park. Whether you collect them as souvenirs or use them to keep in touch with loved ones, Yellowstone postcards are a delightful way to capture the magic of this extraordinary place. So that's the history of Yellowstone. It was the first national park, 1872. That's a long time ago. And there's a lot of unique features. Now during that time there was an official photographer, but really unofficial is what I read, and it was Haynes, Haynes. And I'll put it right down here. That's the name of the official photographer of the Yellowstone National Park, but I don't think he was government sponsored or anything. He just took on that title. But I'm going to give you a little bit of history about Haynes here, and what you're going to see a lot of cards with Haynes, and you're going to see some facts on the Haynes cards. And while I do that, I'm going to show you about a half a dozen of postcards of Haynes that I picked out. But the history of Haynes Yellowstone postcards dates back to the 19th century when Frank Haynes, a talented photographer, recognized the immense beauty and potential of Yellowstone National Park in 1884. Now remember, it became a national park in 1872, so this is 12 years later. Haynes opened a photography studio near the park's entrance, capturing stunning images of the natural wonders. As tourism to the park increased, Haynes saw an opportunity to create a unique keepsake for visitors to take home. He began producing postcards featuring his iconic photographs, which quickly gained popularity. These postcards not only showcased the park's awe-inspiring landscapes, but also served as a way for visitors to share their experiences with family and friends. Haynes' dedication to capturing the essence of Yellowstone earned him the title Official Park Photographer, and established his postcards as the go-to souvenir for Yellowstone visitors. Today, Haynes Yellowstone postcards continue to be cherished for their historical significance and exceptional quality, allowing people from all over the world to relive the splendor of America's first national park. So you saw some of the Haynes things. You probably, if you've been doing postcards for a while, you've probably seen some of these cards. Now Frank Haynes here's a picture of him with his camera. Haynes picture shops produce box sets of specific cards, such as a popular Haynes 100 series, a set of postcards arranged by number that followed the path of the Grand Loop Road around the park. Other boxes, some were used to package a random mix of cards chosen from previously printed photographs. Now I have one of the boxes, one of the original Haynes boxes, and this is it right here. And if you notice, it says Yellowstone National Park set of 100 colored postcards by Haynes. Right there, it's on there. And if I open it up, there's 54 cards in there, not 100. I actually counted them. It has a little card in there. It says a set of 100 for $1 is actually what it says. And the cards that are in here, let me take a few out. This is one of them. And these are all unposted, nice cardstock. And they have the, down at the bottom here, I'm going to talk about in a second, is that red lettering. That's another one. Very well done. There's the geyser. This is some kind of structure. So this is what's in the set. And here's one of those hot springs. So in that box, you would sell them as 100, and I'll talk a little bit more about it here in a second. But I picked up one of those boxes a while back and stuff. But the copyright dates seen on some of the cards do not necessarily reflect the date. They were printed on the cards, were often reproduced over the course of many years from Haynes negatives. Remember, he was a photographer, so a lot of these were redone on there. The Haynes family produced an estimated 55 million Yellowstone National postcards over the course of 7 decades. An astounding number when you consider they sold their cards solely within the park. Most notable might be the Haynes red letter color tones. And here's a picture of a bison, buffalo, whatever, with the color tone and the red lettering. They produced postcards from 1906 to around 1967 when the shops were sold. That's Haynes. Whenever you think of Yellowstone postcards, just put Haynes in your mind about in red letter stuff. They're not the fastest mover, but I'm going to show you a couple prices here of the Haynes cards, and some extreme prices and some regular prices here. So this box that I showed you here, this one popped up here, sold for $299.95, and that sold in 2021. So a box had 154 postcard set in an original box. They can be pretty lucrative. Then you got the ultra rare or hard to find 1918 Haynes Yellowstone real photo postcard. They had some real photos I found. $150. Sold in 2020. And then you got 1907 Haynes Yellowstone postcard double vignette lot, and that one sold for $95. I had to look close. My old eyes didn't see that. So there is some cards with Haynes, and if you look, they're 1920s, 1918, 1907. So your earlier cards are what you really want to look for, because they demand a little bit more money in the past years. Some people say to lower numbers on the cards, but what I found reading about Haynes, those numbers can be very deceptive. They're all over the place, just like Tux. They're all over the place. There was really no rhyme or reason on some of them because they reused the same photos in different cards. But the lower, you always want to look for lower numbers in series. They're usually the first ones. But if you look at, now those were the higher extreme pricing, but if you look at these cards, Haynes, this is the Park Junction Yellowstone fire hole. It's like a sepia, I think I'm saying that right, sepia, $9. And then you got one of the Whylie single tent interior, and this was a Whylie Camp one, but it was done by Haynes. And look at that tent there. As we get into Whylie Camp here in a second, Whylie Camp did tents that are like hotel rooms. They actually brought the hotel to the park. That's what they were known for, is what I read. Is very, I mean, you're basically living in a very solid structure. It's like a room. Now, we would think of it not as comfortable as today, but back then this was excellent. So $6.50. And then you got one of the Crater of Mud Volcano or whatever, $1.35. So the prices are all over the board for these Yellowstones. But you want to look for the older ones, the 1900s, but that 1905 one still only sold for $9. So you want to do your homework on these Yellowstones. Even though they're Haynes doesn't mean you got gold. But if you get a box set and stuff like that, you really want to dig down and do a little bit of research. And there might be some rare, harder to find cards out there for the Haynes. Let's go back to this box again. This intrigued me when I paid a little up on this box, but I wanted the box. So this vintage Yellowstone National Park postcards, we saw that other one sell for good money, but this one only sold for like $40 best offer. Then you got another one, 26 National Colored Postcards in the box, $20. And then you got, looks like 140 cards with the box, $50. So don't just race to the top when you see those high prices. That might be that one person that bought that. This is where it's falling. They're $30 to $40. I got $30 to $40. Basically, I probably paid about that much for these. Probably $25, $30 for these. You got to be careful with pricing. It's a very passionate thing. Everybody, if you put a price out there, everybody thinks it should be higher or lower. You're not right. You're too low. You're too high. Everybody has an opinion on pricing. So be humble about it and see what it is. But you want to price them to sell. If you're selling postcards, you got to move some of these things. Now, if you want to wait, you can go a little higher. But if I wanted to put this box up here, I'd probably put it for $25. I know it would move $25 to $30, unless there's a special card in there. I would do a little bit of homework, but that's for my collection on there. But I just wanted a level set with pricing, because a lot of people will ask me what the price of a card is. I'll never give you a number that you like. Very rarely do we approve it. I'm going to look at the average a little higher. Some people say, well, it sold for $60. You're saying it's $30. I don't do the antique roadshow for postcards. If people ask me, I'll just say it's above average or below average, and then let them go out and figure out it. It's just all over the board. But you want to be in the market. Most cards listed on eBay are between $2 and $5. Then you get up into the 5 to 8 and 10 and stuff. But most of the cards are $2 to $5, $2 to $6. So people are selling these. I don't look at the real low ones, and I don't look at the real high average cards. Real photo postcards and special ones, subjects, they sell themselves. But pricing can be difficult to do. But that's the Haynes, and you're going to see that. They made 55 million postcards basically in Yellowstone. So you're going to see Haynes. Kind of like Tux to me when I think of it. And then you get into Whylie Camping Company. What is that? That's a history here, and I'm not going to go too in-depth on it. There's a lot of stuff about it. The Whylie Camping Company, with its humble beginnings in 1883. Now, the park started in 1883. So this was 10, 11 years after. Arose became the premier camping experience in the Yellowstone National Park until 1917. The founder, William Whylie, this is his wife and him right here. The Whylie Way was a popular way to visit Yellowstone for tourists who could not afford larger hotels. These tents I saw and what they did, it was just amazing for the day. There is more to read on the Whylie camps, but I'm going to let you do that. I'm going to let you go out and dig on the Whylie camps. But I'm going to show you some postcards out there in a minute on the pricing of them. But Whylie camp postcards are thought after, and here are a few that I found. Whenever I look at Yellowstone, I look for Whylie camp. First thing. That's the first thing I look for. So here's a hard to find 5 Yellowstone postcards, Whylie camp, and 2 Whylie camp cards, and 3 are Haynes. So Haynes did Whylie camps too. $145. Next one is ultra hard to find. I hate the word rare. Yellowstone postcard. It looks like these are all the same seller. Concord Coach, Swan Lake, Whylie camping, $128. Then another ultra hard to find is the geysers and stuff, $75. These last 2 are single cards. So Whylie camps can be very lucrative. So if you see Yellowstone, don't just disregard them. Because if you got a Whylie camp and one of these cards, you could have anywhere from $50 to $100 card. If it's the original, you want to check that as well. Some might have been reproduced. But here's some I found on WorthPoint. If you're looking for another way to comp cards instead of just eBay, I use WorthPoint. It pays for itself the first 2 days of the month for me when I list. It gives me a different view of things. It goes back differently. Sometimes the search is not as well as eBay, and you got to start breaking down what you put in there. But this worked out pretty well. So here's one, $12.99, Whylie camp. So we saw those high ones, and this brings you back to earth. Next one is $10, and these were sold 2023 and 2021. So you got to level set yourself on what you see. So we had some real high ones and real low ones. Where would you put the cards? What can you wait on them or whatever? So Yellowstone, think of Haynes, or think of Whylie camp first. Think of Haynes and kind of figure out what you got. I wouldn't dismiss them. Old Faithful and stuff like that, those are kind of like Mount Vernon. But do they sell? Now this is all part of not the pricing. This is sell-through rate. This is how many cards go. You can go out there and change prices, variables, or sales, coupons, and everything like this. This is just how many cards are moving on. See if I can get it in this range here. Now, I've talked about this before, the low, the average, the high, and the very high. So sell-through rate is just sold divided by listed times 100. I don't do a lot of magical stuff with this. I don't want to get down to the last card. I just want it to fall in one of these ranges. Is it green, red, or bright green? So postcard Yellowstone, 2,100 listed or sold. 26,000 listed. With the title, that's what I found. I ran it a few times. 8%. Falls in the high, right between the average and the high. So it's an average card. But your Whylie camps might be a little special. Wouldn't really fall in its own category. I bumped up against a few other things for titles that I did out there. Postcard Haynes. Only 310 people put that in a title. That sold in 2,800 titles. 11%. And they made 55 million cards. So people are not putting Haynes in the title. So I don't know if that sells as much, whatever. Then you got Yellowstone 8. You got the Yosemite. 8%, another national park. And then you got the Geyser. I just put Geyser. Everybody thinks of Geyser, thinks of Yellowstone. There's 6,200 out there, 6%. So these are average cards. They're going to sit. They're going to take a little while longer to sell, but Whylie Camps will do better. People that know what those are. A lot of people don't know what the Haynes and stuff like that is. Your normal average person buying postcards probably wouldn't know. But your collectors are looking for these. So you're going to hit, if you put Haynes or Whylie Camp in a title, you're probably going to hit some saved searches and trigger some people to look at it and they possibly could buy. So they're average cards. But you want to be careful on some of them. Some geysers and stuff like that might be a little different. So 8%. Then we look at just overall pricing for Yellowstone, down to earth. We got one here. It's a real photo postcard of Cody Burlington, Yellowstone, Wyoming. $27 for a real photo. In early Garner, Montana, 1904. $27. And these both were auctions. And then you got the bird's eye view of Mammoth Hot Springs, Hoodoo Yellowstone National Park vintage postcard, $20. Probably took best offer. So those are the higher ones of the average cards that I saw out there. Throughout the high ones, throughout the low, and this is what pops up. So you're talking $20, $25 for some harder to find cards. But then you get into the lows, you got the 99 cents, $1.35, and $1.34. A lot of these cards here are average cards, but by selling them at that price, they're not making any money. I can tell you that. So if there is, there's not much. So you want to be careful to throw those out, but like a lot of your geyser ones and stuff like that probably are normal average, so you want to take a look at those. But if you ever get a chance to visit Yellowstone or national parks, I think we might be doing that in a couple of years, is taking a tour through them all. But I think it'd be a great place to see, and this is one of the cards that I wanted to do because I wanted to get more information about it, and I feel more comfortable now looking at Yellowstone cards than I ever have. But we'll see Yellowstone, Haynes, or look at Whylie Camp, Haynes, and then see a little bit more. And it could be something special, a few extra dollars here and there. Yellowstone. Who knew? Now we're going to get into the poll. Very quick poll, not much to it. Do you store your listed postcards in a sleeve? That's the little plastic sleeves. When you store them in your inventory, do you put them in your sleeves? 69% said yes. They do. 26% said no, they're naked. There's no sleeve. And 5% said other. I store all mine in a sleeve because this happens. I put an inventory number on my every card in my SKU number, and I don't want to stick that to the card, so everything gets a sleeve. Plus they're easier to pull out for me. Cards that don't slide as well, but I have the sleeves. I have over 30,000 new sleeves here, and I get stuff all the time with extra sleeves, so it's not a big cost, and everything has a sleeve. Most resellers' inventory is not going to sit there for years and years. You're going to keep turning stuff over, hopefully. But some of the comments I got, one is from Ryan's Vintage Postcards. When I first started selling, I sleeved them all, but he doesn't anymore. I found that some seem to stick to the postcard and leave little round spots after a long time in the sleeves. I've never seen that. I've never had that problem with these sleeves that I have. And this might be a reason why, especially with the photochromes. Maybe it's because my shop is upstairs and it can get warmer in the summer. That could be something, but I'm in a controlled environment here. My inventory is controlled, but I haven't. Has anybody else seen that with the sleeves? So it could be dry. It could be with the heat. I'm not for sure. I found it was safest, quickest, and most cost-effective for my business to keep them unsleeved, but in a secure postcard box until the sale. Then it gets a fresh sleeve before shipping. That has been my experience. So everybody has a system. Ryan has a system, I have a system, you have a system, hopefully. But I've never seen the dots from the heat. I'd like to know if that's what it is. Because these are acid-free sheets. Could be. Thanks, Ryan. And then Jackie Jack Todd, I used to sleeve them all after listing. Now I just sleeve the high dollar cards. The rest are now just laying in there naked and cold. Yeah, they're naked. Thanks, Todd. And then Catherine Naley, I put 25 sleeves per lot. I've never put 25 per thing. Do you have to take them out every time and look through each one and then put them back in? Is that what, I think that's what you're saying. I got away from some of that, putting multiple in the sleeve, because sometimes I would just grab it and sell all 3 cards that were in the sleeve. And all of a sudden, where'd they go? And the customer got 3 cards. And that's just my thing. But thanks, Catherine. But that's the poll. Those are the things that people have asked me questions about, and I'll put them out in polls, and this is what everybody does. So 70% of the people sleeve them, and 30% don't. Now remember, you can get these sleeves cheap in my Ko-Fi store, and here's the link. If you're a member, you sign up for $3 a month or $4 a month, either one, you get 40% off. So a pack of sleeves that costs you $3.75 plus shipping, you get them for $2.25 plus shipping. I have people buy 10, 12 packs. I've had people buy 20 packs. And I keep them in stock. My supplier's been pretty good about it. It's just a place for sellers. I wanted a place for sellers to help them make a little bit more money, buying some of these supplies a little cheaper and get them going and keep going. So go in there and check that out. I have a lot of stuff in there. I even put some postcard lots in there once in a while, like 100 packs and stuff. You can buy 100 pack of postcard, a lot in there, and for 25 bucks plus shipping, and sell 6 to 10 cards and get your money back, got 90 to sell for profit and stuff like that. So that's what I try to do, is give a little something back on there. But check out Ko-Fi, and it's just a neat little store that I use. That's the poll. Anybody got any questions about polls? I'm looking to fill out my next year's polls, so if you got questions, send it to me and I'll get them scheduled for the next 2024 period. Just send it to contact@SMPostcards.com. Now, before I get into viewer comments, I wanted to talk about, I went to an auction last night. It took forever to get around this auction. There was just a lot of stuff and not a lot of people, so he was trying to keep the bidding going, I think. But I noticed there were some postcards. Now, the first batch I bought, I've never seen this version of the Budweiser card. Maybe I don't look for it, but I bought a stack of these. I bought about 50 of these cards, and they're Budweiser, and it's a bikini. So Budweiser sells, bikinis sell. They're like new old stock, they're not posted, and about 50 of them. So I could sell about 5 of these cards. I spent $10 on this. I think they're going to sell, so I spent $10. I'll sell, 5 to 6 cards, and it'll pay for it. They might sit a little bit, but they're average cards. But Budweiser sells, and women in bikinis sell. A little risque, but not bad on there. So I paid $10 for those. Then, if I don't spill this, I bought this, a whole tray of postcards. Let's see if I can do this. From here to here, this is all standard cards. These are Continental. So I put a little thing there. I paid $12.50 for this whole lot. And there's a lot of cards in here that look pretty good. There were some, I think, some unique restaurants and little diners. A lot of those, a lot of churches. But there were some cards in there. And I pulled out, I paid $12.50. But I pulled out a handful of cards. I'll just show you. So there was a large letter in there. There's a Ohio Cleveland banner card. A chrome large letter, Pennsylvania. Here's a Stardust Casino banner card. It was posted in 1966. Here's a Main Street, Valparaiso, Indiana. Main Streets always do good. Here's the Cocktail Bar, Linen. Wilson's Barbecue, Gary, Indiana. Probably not there anymore. And then you got another cocktail restaurant. Then you got Brigham. It looks like some kind of celebration on Main Street there. Then you got Marco Polo Hotel, Resort Hotel, Miami Beach. Those always do well. Then you got some people at famous broiled steakhouse, Mosquito Broiled Steakhouse. Then you got Top of the Hub, some building in Boston. Then this was an interesting one. This is the Silver Queen Dunes tourist art. Some looks like it's a duck, one of those water duck things that go boat and car. Kind of looks like something from Star Wars. but I got that one. And here's another lounge. Here's the Hen House. I remember this restaurant. It used to be down the main road in Illinois. A lot of them, I think a lot of them are closed. I don't know if they're opening more on there. And then you got a Japanese steakhouse. And then another Main Street with an older car. So those are just some of the cards that I saw in there. And just this stack here will probably pay for everything that I spent at the auction last night. I did buy a couple other things. I bought, see if I can throw a picture up here. They're called Enchanta, and I paid $20 a piece for these. I've been staying away from the toys, but I just can't help myself. It's ingrained in me. And when I saw these, I knew these would do good. And I'll put some comps up here for these, but these are little figurines of the dragons and stuff like that of the fantasy world. And I paid $20 a piece. But they were mint shape, or I don't like the word mint, but they were in very, very good shape on there. But so I thought I'd throw that in there. You can still find cards out there. You know, I got the Continentals and stuff. I might lot them up in that, but there's some good subjects in there. Continentals still sell. They're not most sought after, but people will. I think that's why that lot went so low, because people saw half Continentals and stuff. I was amazed I got them so cheap. But let's get into viewer comments. Got 4 today. These come from email, YouTube, all over. If you put it in YouTube, I consider it public. If you send it in email, a little more private. You can send it to contact@SMPostcards.com. Please don't reply to me or send a message to me on eBay. I cannot reply to you the way I want to, because of eBay would spank me for trying to send you somewhere or saying something. So I probably will tell you in a cryptic way to go to one of my videos, comment, and I'll give you look for the email address. That's the best way. Sometimes I might stop replying to eBay messages. I'm just very on the edge with that. I don't want anything to affect my account. First one came from Frank Homan. That was a very good in-depth video on golf postcards. It has me wanting to branch out into postcards. Would you have a starter or small lot of postcards for sale? I've been getting tons of people ask me about, do I sell lots? I normally don't. I just not a one to sort and lot and things and stuff like that. And I don't do many lots. I'll lot up like Continentals here and there. But I said, you know what, I'm getting a lot of people asking, so this is something. Not looking to make a lot of money on this. So I did put some lots out on Ko-Fi. There were 100 pack lots. I think I won 200. At this time of this video, I got about 10 100 pack lots, and you get a pack of sleeves. So if you get 100 cards, I put a pack of sleeves in for you too. So you get 100 cards and you get the sleeves. So they're out there. I'll try to keep up. If I run out of stock, I'll just lot up a few more. It doesn't take me long to do it. If you're looking for a small pack of curated cards already ready to resell, stick them in your scanner, put up 100 cards out there if you're looking for a little lots. I probably will not, I don't think I'll ever put 1,000 lot up there and stuff. These are just small little curated lots that people are asking. So that's what those are, yeah. But get into postcards. It takes a little while, and just work your way through it. It's a 6 to 8 months, put up 1,000 cards. You're going to learn everything you need to know about postcards to keep you going. And then as you go along, you're just going to learn so much. You'll say, wow, why didn't I ever do this? Thanks, Frank. Then Bell Postcards. I only do this as a hobby. So we have collectors, we have large sellers, we have small sellers. Most of the people watch the channel have 5,000 and below postcards. I think 10% are above 20,000 and stuff. So we have a whole mixture of people. We have people who have been doing it for 40, 50 years. We have people, stamp people. We have all this knowledge out there. I know a little bit about a lot, and probably nothing about a lot too, and a lot about a few things. But by doing these videos and stuff like that, I've gained more foundation, my base, to what to look for. He's very part-time after 1,300 sold. I've only had 3 that apparently did not show up, knocking on wood. This is talking about my analysis, I think, about every month, beginning of the month, I put out a eBay standard envelope analysis. I take 100 random mailings that I did, and I just see what scans got there. You know, did it get an origin, destination, out for delivery and delivered, and how long it took. So I do that for every month for the year. And so he's talking, that's what that is, and that's the video there. You can look for that, same thing every month. Each had at least 1 scan, so I did recoup my funds. So there's insurance on there, and I have a video about the insurance for eBay standard envelope. I treat checking the scans like it's against my morals. I don't stress unless I'm asked. Yes, don't poke the bear. In your scans, if you see something doesn't get delivered, do not, I recommend, I'm not telling you what to do, but I recommend do not go out and ask people if they got their item. Most people are honest, but some people won't. If you don't hear from them, that's fine. If they don't leave feedback, that's fine. Don't poke the bear, because you might not like what you get. So I'm with you about postcards. Thanks. Then thank you. I was looking for something like postcards to fill time with, and I've been watching you for a while and now have 4,500 postcards listed. He was filling a lot of time, and I'm actually making money. That's a good thing. Great. You have mentioned many times it does take a while to learn and get things moving, but I've been putting something in the mailbox almost every day now. So cool. Thank you. You can do the basics to get started. First year, break even, make a little bit of money, you know, first 6-8 months, and then the next year you really get going and stuff. He's got 4,500 cards. I really saw a daily sales pick up between 5,000 and 6,000 cards listed when I started. And get, you know, you still got to play with the pricing, figure out where you want to be, what you got into the cards. You got to buy them right, you got to price them right, you got to ship them right, 1 or 2 days. You got to have good scans, and don't overthink some of the average cards. Work on the ones that you're going to get, the good cards out there that you can wait on, and get some average cards, a little bit of average, that you will pay the bills while you're waiting for that good money. But thanks for nice, kind words and stuff like that. Glad you're doing good. Keep us updated. I saw you on, next one is, I saw you on some of the reseller rally videos. Like you had a great time. Did you make a video about the event? No, I didn't. I went there, I was going to do some video, and I said, you know what, this is a time to get away, have fun, see people, and a lot of people did videos about them, and I'll put up some pictures here. But the reseller rally, if you haven't went to one of these things, it's re-energizing. Met so many people, and you know what, I didn't hear anything about algorithm, eBay's bad, none of this stuff. It was all positive, talking about what they're doing, how they're moving forward. I think there was a few things about sales being up and down a little bit, but it wasn't the same rhetoric that you sometimes hear about the negatives. It was all positive. There was nobody there, even from the large YouTubers to the small sellers. Everybody took time to talk to everybody and listen. The biggest thing I noticed is these people listen. I had the ear of a huge reseller for about 20 minutes talking, and he just sat there and listened. Didn't try to tell me what to do and stuff. He just listened. He did make some comments about what he does, and we threw some stuff back together. I met some people that I've talked to over time with the channel or their channel, and they're just like the same people on the channel. None of these people are bad people. I don't think I met one bad person with a bad attitude or anything. Everybody was having fun. We had a meetup. Went on a boat ride. The food was great. Town was great. I saw too many of the bridges. I kept getting lost around the roundy rounds. Kept going across the Cincinnati back. That's a story for another time. And the hugging and kissing, the spooning. Everybody hugs. I think people are telling them to hug me, so they were getting into personal space. But it was a lot of fun. But if you get a chance to go one of these, even if you're a small seller, you want to grow, or you're a big seller, just go to one. It's money well spent. You learn a lot talking to people, networking and stuff. So I think there's been one in Vegas, there's one in Cincinnati. You just got to look for them, and I'll try to let people know when they come out. But that's all I got about that. National Parks, Yellowstone. Check it out. Be very, don't just dismiss them. You want to take a look at them. Look for Whylie Camp, Haynes, and the boxes. Look for these boxes. $20, $30 you might be able to get out of those. Not guarantee any time of the sale, but it gives you a little bit more foundation about there. But go out and read on Whylie Camp. You can get known on there. That's why I always look for cards that have camp in the title. Forts, scout camps, because Whylie Camp is always stuck in my mind. Thanks for watching. Here's some fish for you to watch.